Hey guys, this is Nobody's here, and today's video will be a little bit different than my usual stuff because I don't really have like a speed paint or anything for this week, so I'll be showing you a side project that I've had for probably like 2 months now. And this side project is a physical version of Inscryption. If you don't know Inscryption, it's a video game. In this video, I'll be assuming that you like sort of know what it's about, know the like core mechanics. Like I won't be explaining super much. So if you don't know what it's about or how it's played or how it works, I really recommend watching either Golden Rodent or Exxo on YouTube. They have live streams or videos about the game. I really recommend watching Kaycees mod rather than a full Inscryption playthrough just because of spoilers. The game is very spoiler heavy, so I really recommend you like playing it for yourself, buying it for yourself. It's a really good game. Definitely like more than recommend. But this is my physical version of Inscryption. It's over 300 cards at this point. It's still not finished. There's additions that I'm gonna make. There's like sort of bigger updates, more mechanics. I'm gonna add challenges. I'm probably gonna add items, but I'm not sure how I'm gonna implement them yet. I'm not sure if I'm gonna update this on the YouTube channel. I might not. Don't really like expect updates as it is. This is like a relatively finished game. But yeah, so first I'll just go over the cards, show you all the artwork because all of these are hand drawn. And after that, I'm gonna play like a test round against myself, sort of, just so you can see how the game actually flows, and what it would look like if two players who actually like know how to play played against each other. So first things first, there are multiple sort of like parts of the deck. This is the main deck. Most of the cards are in here. It's pretty bulky. Then the second biggest deck is the bonus deck, which are essentially cards that you can't just like get, but for example stuff that grows up is in here. If it's like new stats, stuff that changes forms is in here. Ringworms are in here because they aren't viable in this playstyle of the game. Workarounds for the Ant Queen, bees for the beehive, the greater smokes for when you blow out a candle, stuff like that would be in there. Then there is 2 decks for the totems. One of them is the totem heads. There's 2 of each so that the players, technically speaking, could have the same totem head. And then there's the totem bodies, all of them with unique sigils. I didn't include all the sigils that are in the game because some of them are overpowered, like unkillable. But most of them are like in there. But that's like totems. Those are an optional part of the game for sort of more experienced players, for those who like know which card belongs to which tribe and don't have to think about that like constantly, right? Because that will make it a little bit harder. And then there's the squirrel deck and the rabbit deck, which in this version are just the 2 players, because for one, I just didn't want to draw 14 squirrels. Drawing 7 of them was honestly enough. Like all of them have unique art. Yeah, and second off, it's like a pretty easy way to like distinguish the players without having to count the cards in each side deck every time. So yeah, so first I'm just, oh yeah, and then there's also the side panels, which is my way of just like marking the borders of the game instead of having like a full sheet of paper or something with the card slots drawn on. On here, there's this little figurine that's like the scale, indicates the teeth. If it gets to 5 teeth on one side, then you lose a candle. But yeah, I'm gonna show that how I use these in the actual game playthrough. So, about the main deck, it's shuffled, so these cards are in no particular order. I'm not gonna sort them right now, because then I would have to shuffle them again. That's sort of a pain. But definitely like pause if you want to look at the art in more detail. All of these are hand drawn by me relatively quickly and without a sketch. I used like fine liner pens for these, like pens with pretty good quality, definitely not like cheap pens or anything. Yeah, and I decided to like not copy most of the like actual game art one-to-one most of the time, just because I want to have fun with it. Also, there's multiple copies of most cards, like free for essentially like commons, what I call them, which are just cards that you would see a lot of. So like the mantis, the wolf, the ravens, the elk, stuff like that, the cat also. Like less powerful cards, and the cards that I personally think are a little bit more powerful, those only have 2 copies, and then rares and the speaking cards only have 1 copy of each one of them. And you can see that like a couple of cards have gotten sort of different sigils. For example, the skunk is improved now. It has 2 stinky instead of just 1, so it reduced the attack by 2. This makes it a really powerful card, actually. Really annoying to deal with when you play against it, but you know, still I think feasible, like it's not overpowered. The pack mule is also one that changed sigils. Instead of giving you like an entire pack of cards, it now lets you draw 1 card from your dead cards when your opponent kills it. So if you sacrifice it, it doesn't do that, but if your opponent kills it, then you get to draw a card from your dead card stack, which is really powerful. Yeah, I'll just keep going over the cards. The Warren Sigil's meaning was changed like just slightly, because instead of gaining a rabbit, you just draw from your side deck, since how I play the side deck is infinite, so if you run out of squirrels, you can just take them from your death pile or something like that, because you're never gonna hold 8 squirrels in your hand. Why would you do that? In this variation of the game, that would be really dumb. The amoeba also got a different sigil, because amorphous would be really difficult to like make work in this game. So instead of amorphous, it now has an ability where the sigil opposing it doesn't work. So if there's like a skunk opposing it, then stinky doesn't work. If there's a raven opposing it, it isn't flying anymore, stuff like that. The caged wolf is also a card now. It works just the same. You still have a wolf. You still get a wolf from it if it dies. The Kelpie is the only unique card I added. I'm also planning on adding like a standing card for Leshua. It's the only rare card I added, sort of just like for myself because it's fun. And the Kelpie has also the Frozen Within ability. It gets a second, more powerful form. I'll show that in the side deck, which essentially just like swaps its stats. So once it runs out of the free health, it gets 1 health, but then it has free attack. Something like that. It's not the cheapest to play, but I think it's like solid if you play it tactically. It can also be really bad. The Ouroboros works just the same, except you only play like 1 fight in this game, so it can, technically speaking, get that boosted, and it's also really hard to get like an infinite combo, since unkillable totems and sigil transfers don't exist. So, you know, I've never personally used it in this variant, maybe like once, and got it to 2/2 or 3/3. I'm like considering boosting its base stats just a little bit to make it a little bit more viable, but you know. The field mice, instead of having fecundity, which would also be real difficult to make in this version, I could technically speaking make the Kaycees mod version of that sigil, but instead I decided to give them the searcher ability, which makes them just different magpies essentially. Child 13 works just the same. Child 13 does not transform into Hungry Child if you sacrifice it 13 times, by the way, just because I didn't make a Hungry Child art, I technically speaking could. Yeah, essentially all the other cards work just the same and have the same stats and everything. If there comes another card that needs to be explained that works differently, then I'll tell you and show it, right? I made this game in sort of multiple batches, and there's still like cards from Kaycees mod I want to add. This is the Kaycees mod still, and because it's just a pretty bad card, I give it like a unique sigil, which essentially like, you know, compensates for the diverse sigil. So if it would if the opposing card has the waterborne sigil, this card still attacks it directly, right? It's not particularly good, but because it has 2 health, it's like a solid blocker. So yeah, but I drew all of these cards from some sort of reference. I always like looked up stuff, and it made me actually like just drawing these like animals made me a lot better at drawing from reference and drawing like without sketching beforehand. So some of the cards like aren't perfect, and there definitely like are flaws, and they are a little bit sketchy, like all of them, but I think that's like a pretty fun style to have. Yeah, the Mantis God is such a cool card. I love how he turned out, just, you know, absolutely overpowered, obviously. The Lammer, I just changed the symbol here. It depends on the game I'm playing and how I feel. It's more balanced. Usually I play that still half the bones are his strength, but in some cases I would rule it that like the total number of bones are his strength or something like that. It's all really like improvised and malleable, like rules wise, you know. Here we see the Stunted Wolf, the first talking card, and I actually themed these to be a little bit more like the scribes they are based on. So I used my sort of headcanon design for Magnificus, obviously, or obviously visibly. Yeah, he looks really anime, and I like this card art slightly less than I did the sketch for it, which I'm not sure where I have that, but yeah, he still looks pretty good, and I like sort of the different gems that are like floating around him. He looks pretty magical, and there's like a paint splatter behind him, of course. These aren't rare cards, by the way, but there is only one of each in the entire deck. Here's the Stoat, PO3. I really like this one. Like, he just looks so fun. I love PO3. It's probably like my favorite scribe. Like, okay, it's definitely my favorite scribe, but like I can't have favorites because I like all of them a lot. The Strange Larva is one of my favorite card arts also. Like, this is me for real, for real. This is so relatable. Look at him. He's such a little guy. He's tired. He's EP. This one is also really fun. I really like the card art of this black goat because it's literally like walking up to the sacrifice, sort of like altar or something like that, ready to be sacrificed. So that's sort of like sad. Also, it's like pretty cool to like see the real life equivalents of a lot of the animals in this game, because Inscryption has very like American wildlife sort of a lot of the time. Not all of it, obviously, like the rares and stuff. Partly, and Leshy is named after a Slavic god, I think. So, but still, like. These are animals that I wouldn't see in the forests where I live, so it's pretty cool to like get to know them, at least like over pictures and stuff. Some of the cards are from Kaycees mod actually, like the direwolf pup. Just because, yeah. Also, I neglected to mention, but like how there are like some cards that there are 3 of and some cards that there are 2 of. There's also, next to the talking cards and the rares, there's also the Lammer and the direwolf, which there's also only 1 copy of because they are probably like the most powerful common cards in the game, I'd say personally. So of those, there's also only one. And this is what I'm like saying that I learned to draw like from reference, because what do you mean I drew this without a sketch? Like, it looks solid. It's not perfect, right? But it's solid. Also, like, this is like the first time that I've actually learned what a wolverine looks like, because it's just not an animal I'm familiar with, because it doesn't live in the area. It's not something that was like taught as a child, like, look, this is what a wolverine looks like. The closest thing I know is the superhero, and I'm not particularly into superheroes, so yeah. This is the only natural direwolf that you can get inside your deck. There are 2 direwolf pups, so you can evolve a direwolf like that, but yeah, this is him. I think he's really powerful. I think he's more powerful than a grizzly, arguably, which unpopular opinion, I don't know, but yeah. The bullfrogs are also just absolutely adorable. Like, they're such chunks. Chunky beasts. I have no idea how many hours this took me to draw, because it's just so much art, and like all of it is hand drawn. Like, I'm considering that someday I might like scan all the cards and like actually get them printed as like proper cards. They also don't have backings, any of them, which at some point I like to make a stamp or something so that I can create sort of like backings for these cards that are somewhat unified. I'd also love to have like a stamp of the different like tribe heads so that I can actually like stamp them on there, but for now you just have to know the tribes by heart, sort of, which is why I'd say that the totems are for like more advanced players. Here's the second pack mule. I know that pack mules are like a Leshy exclusive card in the original Inscryption, but here with like this different mechanic, I think it works. And here's the stink bug. Here's Grimora. I think she looks pretty beautiful. And she only has 1 stinky sigil. She's the only stink card that isn't a skunk, so she only has 1. Again, Kaycees mod cards, partly. The cuckoo also, actually. The cuckoo, instead of a 1 in 10 chance, it's now a 1 in 8 chance, because first off, you're not gonna play that many cuckoos, and second off, I have the 8 die in the actual game anyway for like stat boosts to the Uriuli or stuff like that, for edge cases, and now it's for the cuckoo as well. But yeah. I actually referenced like 2 physical games of Inscryption for this, because I'm not the first person to think of this, so I just sort of used an amalgam of their actual like rule sets and card mechanics that are like alternate to the actual video game, right? Yeah, some of the rares like look way different than they do in the Inscryption game, just because personal style. I think it's fun to like draw stuff that I like the way it looks like. Here's the Uriuli. I think that guy also looks pretty awesome, but it's just really hard to play. One of my least favorite rares personally, but you know, there's a lot of rares to pick out, so. I will try to like link the channels from which I used the like inspiration, stuff like that. I'll try to link them in the description, but no promises. I can't like 100% guarantee that I like find them. Oh, multiple ratters in a row. I'm just gonna put this one somewhere in the middle. Get a good look at it. It's gone now. I'm trying to keep this deck somewhat shuffled for you know, when I actually play the game. I might also like after this little section put up pictures off screen for when I was actually drawing the cards and have them all nice and sorted, just so you can like look at all the card art in one place. And lettering is also, of course, not by hand, so it's by no means perfect or anything, but I think it gives the game charm. It's like a different aesthetic from the original game, but I think it's a fun aesthetic personally. yeah, beehives also look obviously completely different in cartoons than they like do in real life. So I actually reference like real life pictures of beehives from just Google and stuff. Also, yeah, flying ants are the only ants from Kaycees mod I added because at one point I was essentially like updating the deck in a way that I was trying to balance out the tribe, so all of them had the same amount of cards in the game, which is also why we have stuff like dire wolves. And actually before this sort of like update, it wasn't the canines on top as I was expecting, it was the hoofed cards. Because I included just like almost every hoofed card, I'm pretty sure. But yeah. And this is the last card, the pack rat, and instead of items, because I don't have items in this version of the game, at least not yet, instead of that you draw 2 cards when this card is played. So you play the pack rat and you draw 2 cards from your main deck. So this was the main deck. That's all like the cards that you can essentially like get in the beginning of the game that build your deck. Now we're gonna look at the side deck. Again, just for the art, so we can see what we can get like otherwise. And this one is actually like sorted because you want to be able to like go through it and find the cards that you need in case you need them. But first off, we have like the Greater Smokes. This is the first one, and this is the second one. And yeah, these fantasy creatures, a lot of it I had to like sort of improvise because I couldn't use references. But I think they still turn out fun. For the ones that I didn't have like a photo reference for, I generally drew up a little sketch with just like pencil that I could then like redraw. The ringworms again are only in here because they are not useful at all in this version. If I make a campaign version where essentially you like get the entire story with like the events and stuff like that, instead of just a single combat, there the ringworms will be added to like the main deck. Here you get the cuckoo's eggs. Also the little symbols in the corners for cards that spawn directly on the board, like evolved cards and broken eggs and stuff like that. The little symbol represents where they come from instead of like being bones or blood. And for the ants, they are also marked with the little symbol here that they are actually ant spawner ants and not just regular ants, even though they still have the 1 blood cost next to it. But yeah, here we have the broken eggs. This one might be my favorite. We have the raven egg from the cuckoo in case you roll 1 on this die. Or an 8, depends on what you want, but I think I'm playing with the 1. So if you roll a 1, you get a raven egg, otherwise you get a broken egg on the other field. Which the raven egg is obviously like the bad one for you, the broken egg is the good one for you. Rigging tails for the skinks, which I also think look pretty cool. Here we have the Mothman from the Strange Larva, and yeah, I really like this card art. It's one of the last rares that I drew for this because, again, I needed more insects and I also really wanted to add the Strange Larva. And I think it looks pretty awesome. Here's the Kelpie that I talked about. This is the only card. Also, yeah, I neglected to mention it is waterborne. So yeah, this is a difficult card to deal with. Like, it's pretty good, I'd say. It's easily countered with something like Spiky or Stinky or stuff like that, you know, like it's possible to deal with. Child 13, the alternate form. Here we can also see Child 13 is awesome. Such a good rare. Then we have the Undead Cat in case you sacrifice your cat 9 times. Which if you really wanted, you could, again, like count down with this die or something, but it's not necessary. Here we have the Long Elk. Which in this version also has like an alternate ruling that instead of spawning vertebrae forever, it instead, because I didn't feel like drawing free vertebrae, I guess, but instead of that, it evolves into this head. And yeah, that's pretty powerful. Like, you definitely want to get rid of Long Elk before it evolves, I'm not gonna lie. It's scary to me. Here we have then the like cards that grow up, and these are so cute because these are like younger versions of the like adult cards, but they also aren't like quite like babies anymore. And I think like, look at this guy, he's so adorable. Again, these guys are from like references, but I just think they look awesome. And here we have like a direwolf. There should be a third wolf in here somewhere, but I guess we'll just see him when we see him. If he is in here at all. Yeah, there he is. Okay, this is the last wolf. I like to keep this deck sorted, actually. And here we have the direwolves, which evolve from direwolf pups. Again, really good cards. For direwolves, I couldn't really like use actual photo art, so I used some like paleo art that people made of the direwolf. Then for the bullfrogs, I still had them have tails because they aren't like quite adult yet, you know. Even if they have the same stats, I think it's pretty cute that when the cards grow up, you can like still tell that they are the cards that grew up and not completely like normal cards. If I scan these cards ever, then I'm definitely gonna like make a mod of Inscryption where these cards are just gonna be skins for the cards, because I think that's pretty cool. Here's the caged wolf art for when the wolf breaks out of the cage. I think that's pretty awesome. And there's always the same amount of copies of these as there are of this card in the game, just in case in an edge scenario all of them would be on the field at once. This is probably my favorite like card art from the side deck. Like, look at this raven, he's so derpy. I love him with my entire heart. Like, yeah. And this paper of the cards, it's like really they're like pretty cheap cards, right? It's just little pieces of paper that are meant for like I don't even know what, writing like little learning cards for school or something like that. But it's pretty good quality because like even with this much you can actually really see through it. You can only see through it if there's like really light against it, but if it like lays flat on the table you can't tell what it is. So I think that that's pretty awesome. And for the elks, also again like same thing. And yeah, that is like the entirety of the side deck. I'm just gonna quickly put the greater smokes on top because I think that those are cards that you're guaranteed gonna use. Now I'm just quickly gonna show you the squirrels and the rabbits, which are again the two players. So honestly, I'm glad that squirrels are like animals that you can find so many pictures of, because it makes it easy to like create distinct cards that don't all feel the same, because drawing the same squirrel over and over it'll be really boring. One thing that I plan to add for this version of Inscryption is challenges, which I actually have some challenges written off. I'm just gonna make like little cards for them where there's like the challenge, the rating, what it means, and like the little symbol for it or something like that. So that the players can like adjust their challenge level if one of them is like more skilled than the other, or if they both just like want to have an equal amount of challenge. And some of them are like pretty small challenges that are not really gonna impact gameplay and are going to impact like deck building a little bit, but you can deck build around them pretty easily. Meanwhile, some others will be like pretty hard to deal with even in combat. So yeah, so I'm planning on actually making an Aqua Squirrel deck just for that, because Aqua Squirrels are really fun. Yeah, here are the totem bodies. I'm just gonna show you them because they all have actually unique bodies based on like animals that sort of like I feel represent that sort of sigil or something like that. Like, not all of them are biologically accurate. These ones are I drew like without reference, and they are meant to be like pretty basic. But yeah, more about the challenges, like I plan, like there's also a challenge for this mode where instead of the first card that you draw, you're gonna get a ringworm or stuff like that. There's also gonna be tipped scales, and there's gonna be some affecting like the smokes. Right now I only have greater smokes. I'm still planning on making normal smokes. That's a thing that's gonna like happen eventually because greater smokes are honestly pretty overpowered. Like, I don't want to sacrifice this guy. He's a viable card to stay on the board for the free health, right? But there's gonna be one that like downgrades your smokes. There's gonna be another one that upgrades your opponent's smokes to cave bears, which are just gonna be fly block bears. They are slightly cheaper. They should be like 2 blood instead of no blood. Instead of free blood and instead of no blood, because I don't want to make them completely free because that would be a little bit too hard, I think. Also, a little thing of note here is that in this version of the game, as I'm playing it right now, again, this is all like evolving and I'm improvising this sometimes on the spot, but you can only deal like 3 damage at max to your opponent directly in a turn. You can damage their cards as much as you like want to, and as many of them as you want to, but directly to the opponent you can only ever deal 3 damage per round to make it just a little bit more balanced, and so that you can't have a first turn kill or second turn kill of like the Mantis God or something like that if you get really lucky and your opponent like has no cards to block. Also, there is just like a little like basic fair hand mechanic where essentially just like out of your deck, so long as you have at least one 1-blood card, you draw as long from your deck until you get at least one 1-blood card in your hand. This is just to like make the game actually playable. Okay, so now I'm just gonna set up really quickly, which just means putting the bonus deck somewhere here on the side. I am going to play with totems because I think that's fun and I know how to play. So squirrels are going to be on our side, rabbits are going to be on the other side, and I'm going to play with the cards facing all sort of like the YouTube videos way so that you guys can like see the art and the stats like better. If I were actually playing against someone, of course, the art would be facing toward them. But yeah. These little glass beads that I have from, I don't even know where or when, those are bone tokens. And the dice are used for stat increases or decreases. If there's like multiple health cards, then and they get damaged for only a little bit of health, and you can like indicate that also with the dice. I have 8 die, but so far I've never been in a situation where I needed more than that. Then I also have the D8 for like edge scenarios and the cuckoo and stuff like that. But yeah, so first we set up our board and we have to make sure that the board is wide enough. So I think I really like this solution that I made because it's really compact and you can like really take it with you to wherever. And I think with only 4 lanes and not like 5 lanes, which if you know, you know, if you don't know, then doesn't matter. But with 4 lanes you can pretty easily tell where your opponent has like played the card, where you have played the card, right? So yeah, now 4 cards can fit in between here and here, so we can actually start. First, I'm just gonna do the totems, and squirrel player is gonna be sort of like our starting player. So I'm just quickly gonna shuffle these guys around a little bit. I don't shuffle like super well because I'm bad at it, but you know. So there's Bees Within totem, there's By Fornicate totem, and there's Infinite Sacrifice totem. All of these are really good, honestly. Let's see what heads we can get on them. Because like look, if I get bifurcated canines, then I'm going bifurcated canines, you know? Okay, so you have hoofed, canines, or birds. And okay, yeah, no, I said I'm going bifurcated canines, I'm going bifurcated canines. Also, I made the card art for the totems so that the heads actually like fit on top of the bodies. Sometimes it looks a bit strange, but like they do fit. I think that's fun. So yeah, I'm gonna zoom out a tiny bit here, like this, so that I can, I'm sorry for the phone stand here. That's my filming setup. I'm very professional about this, I know. But okay, that's my totem on this side now. And now I'm gonna do the same thing for the rabbits. So here's my totem bodies. And a lot of the time, actually, I'm really surprised which totem combo wins, because it's often not the one that I was expecting. Loose tail, evolving, which, by the way, this on cards that don't have the sigil on their own just means +1 attack and +2 health. That's how I play with it, at least. Or burrower, okay. So these two are the ones that I'm seriously considering. Burrower is fine, but it's not good. And the fact that the chance for a canine head is now slightly decreased because there's only one and there's 2 of all the other heads, I think that's actually okay. Because, like, it's more fun if the players have different totem heads, honestly. So we have either this. I'm gonna give them 3 options. So either hoofed, reptiles, or birds. Okay. Honestly, I think seeing elder elks would be pretty fun, so let's play with that. Like this. There we go. It's up there. Man, my filming setup is so professional. Okay, it's fine. There we go. You can, I think, sort of see the totem. It's okay. It's fine. I'm just gonna put these 2 part decks away because we don't need them anymore. And now we're actually gonna deck build for our players. And how this works in my version is that each player will have 20 cards in their deck. And they pick the cards in their deck by, maybe I'm gonna shuffle it a little bit actually. Doesn't have to be super well or anything, because like the cards are already somewhat shuffled. I'm also trying to like not create any like big blocks of, for example, one tribe or one card or something like that. If I ever like sorted it, right now that's not gonna be an issue, but if I ever like, you know, sort the cards, so there's like a ruling that I just go by feeling. But if there are like 3 cards laid out and all of them are, for example, of the same tribe, then I'm gonna switch the last one until it's of a different tribe, for example. But yeah, so we just draw 3 cards here. So we have a raven, the douse, and a rattler. And squirrels are gonna start because that's just how I roll. They're the white pieces in my game. And I think because none of these are canines, actually, douse is a hoofed tribe, but I'm not gonna give that to the other player, so I'm gonna take douse. Also, the douse doesn't actually have chimes. It now instead, if it has cards next to it, attacks on their behalf if they get attacked, right? So it's a little bit more powerful, I think, if you have cards to play next to it. So yeah, we're just gonna put that on their side of the board. And now Rabbits gets to pick out of these 2 cards, and then after 5 cards are gonna swap. Each 5 cards are swapping until we have 4 sort of like stacks of cards, and those mixed together are their deck. And I think I'm gonna go for the Rattler because honestly it's not that hard to get to bones, especially late game. So I'm just gonna be putting these to the side here for now. Now we have Amalgam and Coyote and Cuckoo. And Amalgam still counts as every tribe. This would be these little 2 spots. Those will be for the campaign version, which I am also sort of planning on making. Like an alternate game mode essentially for this game, but that would mean that it can get 2 sigil transfers instead of just 1. Okay though, I mean, Coyote is a canine, I should take the Coyote, probably. Likewise, that ain't a question. And we up here, we're gonna take the Wolf, which I have a tendency to call the Amalgam the Wolf because it has like essentially the same stats. It's like a slightly better wolf. That's what I call it in my Inscryption playthroughs, at least. A Rattler, an Elk, and a Magpie. Okay, interesting. I might go for the Magpie here just because of the sigil, and also so that rabbits can take a little bit of advantage of the Elder Elk sigil, right? Because that's always fun to see. A Raven, an Elk Fawn, and the Kingfisher. Okay. Honestly, Kingfishers in this version are actually solid, which the fact that Kingfishers can be solid at any game of Inscryption is sort of insane, but I mean, you heard it here first. They are solid in this version. So, am I gonna take it though? No, Squirrels is gonna take the Elk Fawn. And then Rabbits is probably gonna take the Kingfisher just because we don't really have any low cost cards yet. Oh, a Tadpole. That's cute. A Beehive, that's also really good. And another Kingfisher, okay. I'm thinking we're taking the Beehive here. And then the other side can take the Tadpole like this. Kingfisher gets thrown away. So now we're swapping sides because we have 5 cards, each one of us. So, let's just quickly do that. So now you have Raveneck, or a Flying Ant, or I'm not gonna dupe that up. We're gonna get a different card, or a Tadpole. Okay, so I'm saying we take as Rabbits because Rabbits pick first now. Honestly, this is rough because Flying Ant opens up the option of building sort of like an ant deck. On the other hand, Raveneck is just straight up a good card. So can be Tadpole, by the way, but we already have one of those. So I think I'm gonna take a Raveneck. And we can take a Flying Ant, open up the option of building that deck in case we get more ants on our board. Okay. River Snapper. We're not doing 2 River Snappers in a row. Coyote or Turkey Vulture. Okay, interesting. And I think because I'm Rabbits, I'm just gonna take the Coyote and steal that from the other player. Just so they don't get to use their totem, which by the way is like an actual strategy you could use. You could just, if you have a significantly worse totem than your opponent, for example, you could literally just like steal the cards that would be useful for their totem. And now we have a River Snapper and a Turkey Vulture to pick from, and I think we're taking the River Snapper. By the way, this card has a little bit of like a red stain on the side. I have no idea what happened there. I took these on holiday with me, so it might have happened there, or maybe it's like something that just, you know, I don't know. But yeah. Oh, an Ant Queen. And a wolf. Okay, this is really difficult for squirrels as like a pick, but I think as rabbits we're just gonna take the wolf because that's like such a solid card. I think we're gonna take the Bifurcated Bloodhound, just because 4 attack is really good. Mantis, an absolute classic. The cat, good for low blood decks, but not probably for rabbit's deck right now, because we generally have more higher blood cards. Like I see a lot of 2 bloods. I see some bone costs. And the tap will also help because it's free cost. I think we're going Mantis. And we also have more... Yeah, no, we actually have like solid number of 1 bloods, but like not enough to like fully justify a black cat. But yeah, let's take the adder because from previous experience with this version of the game, it like has saved my ass once, so why not me as well. A cockroach, a great white, and another cat. Those are interesting choices, honestly. Okay, and this is last pick for rabbits, then it's gonna go to squirrels again. I'm gonna take the... Man, these decks like don't really have a direction they're going right now. Usually they do. Right now they don't. I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure we can afford a great white. But on the other hand, it's a great white, like it's a really good card. So yeah, sure, let's take it, why not? Let's take the great white, and we're gonna... Are we gonna take the black cat? We might take the black cat, actually. It'll be solid. Let's take the black cat, and hope we get it early. Ooh, skunk, that's a good card. Pack mule, that's also a really good card. And adder, that's a solid card, can be. And now it's squirrels picking first again. So for this one, ooh, Elder Pack Mule actually would have attack, that's insane. I want to see an Elder Pack Mule. I'm gonna be selfish here, I'm gonna give rabbits the Pack Mule because I'm extremely curious. Okay. Another skunk. This isn't shuffled very well, I'm realizing, that's okay. No one's perfect. Okay. And the amoeba. And a warren. Okay. We have a lot of high blood cards. I take the warren just for the easier sacrificing. And then we're gonna take the amoeba just because it's essentially free. Skunk would also be really good, but you know, both of those are next solid. We have bullfrog, a caged wolf, and an elk fawn. So I think we're just gonna follow our heart here, go by fornicated caged wolf. As trash as that is right now, it's gonna get better. And then if it like ever breaks out of the cage, and then we up here are gonna take elk fawn, which is actually sort of useless, but elk is still really solid, so just like totem wise it's useless. Bat, kelpie, which is also hoofed, by the way. I counted so because I was deciding between, I'm pretty sure, reptile and hoofed, and yeah, there's an equal number of them. This one is hoofed. And a worse, okay, and squirrels is picking first. I'm taking the kelpie. I'm not sure if the Boris is worth it, especially not with this deck, which is very high blood cost. So let's take the bat because we don't have that many bone cost cards yet, or at least not like super high bone cost cards, which I know is a shame. Just throwing away the Boris, but you know, sacrifices must be made. That's the original title of Inscryption. Fun fact: the Game Jam version was named "Sacrifices Must Be Made." Some lore for you. Okay, yeah, no, it's definitely field. No, never mind, it's wolf because we have bifornicated canines. These are decisions that like change the course of the game. Ooh, Elder Child 14 is also really solid because when you sacrifice it once, it turns into a free attack, so that's pretty good. So let's take that actually. Dropping the field mice, that's insane. Okay, and now it's the rabbit's turn once more. Because, you know, just a reminder, Charge 14 is actually hooved, even though it is like sort of like a Jersey Devil sort of thing. It still has hooves, so it's hooved. Oh, an alpha, and a magpie, and a moose buck. Interesting. Okay. Evolved moose buck is like absolutely insane stats. We do already have the great white, and we don't have a single black goat, so it's not looking like super great, but like black goats are in there somewhere, so maybe they're gonna come up soon and we can actually grab one, which would be really good. And otherwise we're just gonna have to like pray hope and pray, but you know, evolved moose buck would be overpowered, absolutely. Another coyote, another elk fawn, and a possum. Okay, honestly, let's take the possum just because it's essentially free. It's gonna help with those big sacrifices that we have to bring with, not this one, this one, this one, these guys, yeah. And then we're gonna take another coyote because bifornicated canines, baby. That's the good stuff. Like right now I'm fully expecting squirrels to win, but I've been surprised before, I might be surprised again. Mole, possum, and sparrow. We are gonna take the mole because that's a pretty good defense, and we are gonna take the possum like this. We are almost down to cards left. There's the skink, that's I think the first time, maybe second time spot this one, and the turkey vulture and a weasel. Okay, well, what are we gonna do about this? I think we're taking a skink just because it potentially can bring 2 sacrifices if you like get sort of lucky, if you play, or tactical if you're placing it. And then we already have sort of a lot of bone costs, so let's take a weasel. There we go. Haven't seen a single rat king or black goat. That's pretty insane. Ooh, a river snapper and a river otter. And a raven. Okay. This is the last card we're drawing, by the way. So let's just take the sort of permanent damage because waterborne cards are actually pretty solid here. And we can take the absolute menace that is the river snapper. It's a tank. Raven is also actually an insane card, but not this time, sorry. There we go. Okay, these are the cards that we're gonna put away. So they're gonna get put back in the main deck, like so. There we go. Lovely. Okay, now we just put the cards of each player together in one pile. And we'll sort of shuffle them so we don't know where which card is. There we go. That squirrel's deck. It's going here. Right underneath squirrels. Come on. Oh, goodness. Again, I'm very professional about this. I've never really filmed a video like this, so I'm sorry that it's like very unedited, unscripted, stuff like that. I mean, I'm just playing a game here, honestly. If this was scripted, then that would be pretty trash. But yeah. By the way, it's completely valid if you're like watching this on 2x speed or something like that, because I mean, you know, this is a pretty slow video. I might speed up like parts of it actually. I'll see what I'll do. Okay. This is the rabbit's deck. Okay, wonderful. So we're starting out with the scale set to 0. And no bones on our side. And we just... let's have squirrels start because they're the white pieces to me. So we have bloodhound, elk fawn, which is a 1-bud, so fair hand doesn't come into play, and beehive, so that's also a 1-bud. Fair hand doesn't come into play again, and then we also get a squirrel. Like so. Wonderful. That's our hand. That's our hand. What are we gonna play? I think that it's worth it setting up an elk fawn. It's not perfect, but it's solid. So I'm just gonna set that up right here. There we go. The squirrel is gonna go on the dead pile, which I generally put on the other side of the hand, like so. Okay. And then we ding, which I don't have a bell, so I'm just saying that I ding and usually just like do this as if there was a bell. Loser moon by now. But this guy deals damage and moves a space. And it will evolve at the start of our next turn. Okay, now it's Rabbit's turn. So let's see what they have in their hand. We don't have to worry about fair hand because this is a 1-bud. This is also a 1-bud. Crazy. And this is an elk. And then we also get a rabbit. And we can't forget that this elk actually is affected by this. So, you know, keep that in mind. What I do here is probably just play the rabbit into the mantis at the elk fawn. This is actually really solid. Like so. Ding ding. We do 1 damage and the elk fawn dies. Oh yeah, I forgot that we would get bones. So we get bones for the squirrel and the elk fawn on this side. And we get bones for the rabbit on this side. The camera view is absolutely horrible for the squirrel side of things. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, so the mantis is right here. Okay, now it's squirrel's turn again, and we can draw either from our main deck or from our side deck. And I will choose to draw a squirrel just so I can play anything at all. And I'm gonna play the beehive right here. There we go. The squirrel sacrificed. Get another bone token. As you can see, you know, the bone tokens, they're like filling up pretty quickly. And so in the very beginning, it's sort of hard to play bone cost cards, but at some point, it's like you just get a lot of bones. I'm planning on adding the raccoon card from Kaycees mod. That's probably like my top pick to add still, but you know. Yeah, we didn't get to deal no damage because this guy deals no damage. Loser. Okay, what are we gonna do up here? Honestly, maybe also draw a rabbit just so we can get the elk on the field. We could even low-key replace the mantis with the elk. That might actually be a solid idea because then we don't give the other player a bee unless we specifically want to give them a bee and kill the beehive. So, yeah, let's probably... yeah, let's do that. Let's play the rabbit, sacrifice these 2 into the elk. Oops. Which I'm gonna play right here. And we have to remember on this side the cards would actually be flipped, so the elk is gonna move like this and not like this, you know, at first. Yeah. Okay. Did I give myself two bone tokens? I think I did. So we ding that and we deal 2 damage. Then we move it again. Okay. So what's squirrel is gonna do? Squirrel is gonna draw a squirrel and sacrifice these 2 guys for the busted bloodhound, which will, okay, we first off get 2 bones, very first off, like so, and that will hit the elk for 2 damage and deal the board 2 damage also because it's by fornicated because of the totem. Okay, what does rabbits do with this? Our elk isn't going to die right away, it's gonna move, and then it's gonna get the bloodhound, so, or, you know, not quite get it, but like sort of, so that's fine. I'd honestly probably draw main deck just to see what we get. There's a skink, okay, that's solid. We can use that probably. Yeah, and I think we ding that, deal 2 damage. Actually, we deal 3 damage, 1, 2, 3, because this guy evolved. So we now have, instead of 2, yeah, we healed those 4 health back up, but we were still damaged. And now we deal 3 damage because totem, powerful totem, that's really good, okay. Now squirrel's turn. Also it moved, like so. There we go. And we're about to deal 4 damage. You know, max is 3 damage. So we're about to deal 3 damage in a turn, that's pretty solid. So I think we're just gonna draw a squirrel and like wait it out a little bit. We deal the 3 damage. It's disguise time again. So I think we are going to draw a rabbit just so we can get the skink on the field, and I'd like to get it on the field somewhere where the bloodhound can hit it. So let's put it in the field right here. Let's kill that rabbit, get that bone. Okay, that skink right here. Okay. And we will actually kill the bloodhound with that, tragically. Which means that this guy gets a bone now. And the skink deals 1 damage. Okay. Like, again, we are seeing that the totems are surprising me. I was fully expecting these canines to win, but apparently they aren't, so that's pretty insane. Yeah, let's see main deck what we get. That's a caged wolf, okay. Well, shit, I guess. We have to wait for a turn. We might lose, but we'll get a greater smoke for it, so it's gonna be fine. We're actually probably gonna, like, beat this somehow. Yeah, we do nothing. It's rabbit's turn. Unless we, like, want to block with a squirrel, which I'm not sure that's worth it. Like, that's not worth it, blocking with a squirrel. We need that squirrel for the caged wolf. Okay, let's see what we have in our main deck. I'm looking for something bones. It's a kingfisher. That's fine, I think. We just dinged that on us. Oh, this guy didn't move, did it? That's fine. Now it moved. Okay, let's see what we do here. We deal 4 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Candle has been put out. Now we get a greater smoke on this side because we lost. A candle. Okay. Now it's squirrel's turn again. And I'd still just like draw a squirrel straight up and play the caged wolf up against that elk, and then play the greater smoke right here. There we go. Like so. Actually, it might be smart to put it here. Let's put it here, that's fine. Now we ding that. We activate this ability. Now we get a wriggling tail somewhere around here. This is the only thing slightly annoying about the side deck, is that you have to like shuffle through it every time you need something. There we go. There's the wriggling tail. But you see how immersive that then looks? That's pretty fun. And we deal 1 damage to that. So now he has 1. Okay, lovely. Now it's rabbit's turn again. Do we even want to like play the Kingfisher and stuff. I'm honestly not super sure. Let's still like draw a rabbit just for now, just so we have that stuff in our hand. So I don't know why my mantis ended up there. This is the discard deck. That's fine. Okay. We just leave it like this. That's fine. We deal 1 damage from the skink and deal 3 damage to the caged wolf. Like so. And it's the squirrel's turn again. So let's see how we deal with the situation. This is honestly sort of like a puzzle game, just like when I'm playing by myself. Because I don't have a second player right now that I could consistently play with, since I don't really have anyone in my surroundings who like is super familiar with Inscryption or familiar with it at all. I think if I played against a player who knows Inscryption like as well as I do, then it would be really fun. Which I won't claim to be like the best player in the world, but it's an adder that's trash. Or actually it isn't, because actually the adder isn't trash because we can just straight up kill the elk with that, which might actually save us like a headache later. So let's do that. Let's sacrifice all our stuff for the adder to put it. Like I said, it saved my ass. I meant it. Okay. I'm not claiming to be like a super great player at Inscryption. For the smoke and 1 for the caged wolf. But I'm like onto the rare achievements with Kaycees mod, just like progression wise. I haven't actually finished Kaycees mod yet. But that is less because I haven't had time to play recently, rather than not being able to win. I've only gotten into a situation where I was struggling to win once, and that was only because I was like dead set on using a specific like set of a specific combination of challenges and a deck, and I was going for a really specific strategy, which in the end I didn't even end up using. I think I won with either an ant deck with a really good ant queen and probably with an ant spawner totem, or with an overpowered wolf. I'm not sure anymore. But yeah. Okay, rabbit's turn again. What are we gonna do about this adder? Honestly, this might be the place for the Kingfisher to shine, because the adder can't kill the Kingfisher, and so we just like block that. We just compensate the damage, and so we just slowly like inch our way to. We can honestly sacrifice the wriggling tail for that. Wait, that's pretty solid. Let's do that. And then we could even play a mole in addition to that. Just so we have our bases covered, which let's maybe do that. So you get a bone for the tail and you get a bone for the rabbit, and the mole lives here now. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot that I was turning the cards this way. That's fine, okay. And it's, so we deal 1 damage, 2 damage, 1, 2. Okay, shoot. Let me see what we get. I really hope it's a bone cast. That's not a bone cast, it's a 2-blood. Shit. Or, also a bone cast, but that will be, this will be a really good card. If there still was that elk out there or something like that, but never mind that, it's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. Okay. Yeah, we just deal 1 damage back. It's fine. I think by 4K Wolves is just gonna lose this one because of RNG, but it's okay. So we're just gonna draw main deck because we definitely have. Oh, that's a tadpole. Let's play the tadpole. I want to see a bullfrog on the field. Why not? Okay, reading that, we deal 1, 2 damage. Okay. Please be a bone cast. That's not a bone cast. Fuck. It's a wolf. It's trash, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna play with 3 candles here just because I do this game by game, honestly, deciding how many candles there are as the game goes on. If I'm still having fun while there's still a candle left. Or, you know, an alternate ruling is if one player wins 2 times in a row, then the game ends, and until then it just keeps going. Which honestly probably makes the most sense, because then it like shows the actual like superiority of one player over the other. Technically speaking, it could like lean to an almost never-ending game, but so far I've never had that issue, so, you know. Again, surprisingly with that sigil, because I was not expecting this totem to like be any good, honestly, but yeah. So we can actually 4 rabbits. Yeah, we just do this because we dealt 1 damage for the adder. But we can honestly just pull out the... There we go, bullfrog. Just any bullfrog, honestly, like so. And we even get to like draw a card, so let's just take this. Ooh, that's fun. Just for the hell of it, let's because I mean, why the heck not? We can. And also gain 3 bones from that, of course, because we should just sacrifice 3 of our cards. Okay, yeah, no, like, Rabbits definitely has like won this game. Yeah. I think essentially no matter, even with like perfect RNG and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure that Squirrels couldn't turn this around, which sucks, but also like, yeah, that's sort of how that works. But yeah, this was sort of like a little presentation of how the game actually works. You saw like a couple of the mechanics. I sort of wish the game was longer, but it was plenty long as is. Like, I'm looking at this recording and it's over 50 minutes long, so yeah, thanks for watching. If you watched until now, again, if you watched at higher speed, then I fully respect that, because this video was slow and unscripted and everything like that. Yeah, if you want to create like your own Inscryption, then definitely like do. It's pretty fun. If you want to buy the video game Inscryption, go do that. It's a much smoother experience than this. This is still rough around the edges and very homemade, and sort of like a slower experience. It's more of a tactical game rather than just the fast-paced sort of roguelike type stuff you get with Inscryption, especially with Kaycees mod. Stuff like that, you know? Yeah, thanks for being here even for a video like this. I really appreciate you guys. I will see you in 2 weeks with a probably scripted video. If I'm lucky, I'll get it done. I'm planning on reviewing the live action How to Train Your Dragon movie / redesigning the dragons from that, because like the movie itself is pretty solid. If you don't know the script of the movie by heart, then it's really good. I just have some issues with like the dragons designs, personal preference, stuff like that. So yeah, I really hope you tune in for that. If you like dragons, if you like redesign videos, if you like art, that one's gonna be much higher in quality than whatever this is. This is whatever I'm doing, you know? I didn't even use any bone cost cards in this little game that I played. But yeah, again, thanks for watching. I'll see you in 2 weeks. I hope you have a great day.